Hello and welcome to our flip video lesson, Monotheism Takes Hold, lesson 7.01. Lesson 7.01 details are our Human Odyssey reading pages 213 to 219, your student workbook pages 205 to 209, your OMS assignment is assessment 7.01, and the topic we're going to be discussing is monotheism and Judaism. And monotheism is that belief in one God. So we're kind of moving on from polytheism into monotheism. Lesson learning objectives: define polytheism, monotheism, Torah, and covenant. Identify Abraham. Identify the Hebrews as the first people to worship one God and spread that idea. Locate on a map the areas the ancient Hebrews traveled through and settled, and identify the countries that occupy that area today. Name the religion of the ancient Hebrew. Identify Canaan as the land Jews believed to be the promised land. Lesson introduction. Monotheism takes hold. Worship just one God. That was a very radical idea in 2000 BC, and that's so 2000 BC before Christ or before Common Era. Most ancient people worship many gods, and that was polytheism. You learned that in ancient Egypt, Akhenaten's attempt to introduce the concept of one God failed. But when the Hebrews turned to monotheism, their religion, Judaism, offered a way of thinking that changed the course of world history. Student guide questions. So now you're going to turn to page 208 in your student guide, and you're going to fill in these questions after you've read these pages, or you can do it before. Just make sure you follow up with your reading to make sure all of the ideas come together. So question number 1, who are the Hebrews and what are they best known for? The Hebrews developed a civilization along the Euphrates River. They later moved west to settle in Canaan. The Hebrews were one of the first peoples to worship one God, and they established the idea of monotheism. What is Judaism? Judaism is the religion of the ancient Hebrews. What is the Torah? The sacred writings, or the Torah, is the sacred writings of the Hebrews are known as the Torah. The Torah contains the Hebrews' history, laws, and beliefs in God. In what time period did Judaism develop? Judaism developed about 2000 BC. This right here is a picture of the Torah, and then obviously some other pictures there. I'll give you a second there because I know there's 3 questions on one page. And you can always pause the video if you need to write all these answers in. Who was Abraham? What is he believed to have done? That's question number 5. Abraham was the early leader of the Hebrew people. The Torah says he led a small tribe of people from Haran to the new land of Canaan. Question number 6. Explain the agreement described in the Torah between God and Abraham. According to the Torah, God's agreement with Abraham was to bless Abraham and his people if they agreed to worship only one God. God would give Abraham and his people the land known as Canaan, make them mighty and powerful, and bless them with many descendants. Use the map on page 214 in your Human Odyssey reading book and your reading pages for this lesson to answer question number 7. Locate the following areas on the map. So you can go ahead and turn to your book, page 214 here. There's a map on here which can help you. Okay, and then if you turn to page not only 214, 215, and then over on 217, you can go ahead and use that information to fill in the map. Okay? And so you're going to want to fill in the area where the Hebrew civilization originated, the area through which the Hebrews traveled after leaving Mesopotamia, and then the area which the Hebrews settled. And then question number 8, what countries are now in the area that was Canaan in ancient times? And so if you look here, we've got Israel, Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria, all these areas right here and right along this Mediterranean Sea. Okay? So you can fill that in on your map as well. and you need to make sure that you know those areas for your assessment. And then here we come to our reading pages. As I said, it's important that you do have your readings complete. So reading pages 213 to 219, make sure you have those read. And then vocabulary words that you need to know for the assessment and for this lesson and for this unit to have a good understanding. Canaan is the ancient name for land between the Jordan and the Mediterranean Sea, the promised land of the Israelites. And then the Torah is, sorry, there's a little typo there. It should be the entire body of wisdom and law contained in Jewish sacred literature and oral tradition, also the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible. And then covenant is a solemn binding agreement or promise. And then monotheism is that belief in one God. Polytheism is that belief in many gods. And just a quick note here, remember, as we're studying history, I just want to make it very clear again that I'm not teaching you to believe a certain religion, but it is important that you understand these religions to understand history and how they've impacted history in the past, in the present, and how they will impact history in the future. So again, all of these religions that we're studying, polytheism, all the different polytheistic ways, Judaism now, Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, and some of those are philosophies, not always religions. But it's important to understand all of these, to understand the world around us, and to understand how history has impacted how we live today. Okay? And here we come to our quote section. All work is seed sown. It grows and spreads and sows itself anew. And that's by Thomas Carlyle. Thanks so much for joining me today. 8 steps to have a great day. Believe in yourself, stay strong, never give up, be grateful, work hard, stay humble, be kind, and keep smiling. Have an amazing day. Thanks so much for joining me.